Tator-chan here. If you're a fan of otome games, you've probably heard about the Ssum Forbidden Lab in recent months. The game just came out a couple days ago as of writing this video in August 2022. If you think you've seen that Cheritz logo before, you're not mistaken. These are the same people who created the beloved and infamous Mystic Messenger, which was released back in late 2016. Cheritz is known for a couple other otome games, but their biggest hit by far was the worldwide phenomenon of Mystic Messenger. I myself was, and still am, a big fan of Mystic Messenger. I played it right before the game exploded in popularity, and I still hold it near and dear to my heart today. But of course, it's already been well over 5 years since the game launched, so naturally, Cheritz had to come out with something new. So, in early 2018, Cheritz had a beta launch of their upcoming game, the Ssum, only in Malaysia and India, later wrapping it up in late 2019. It wouldn't be until August 2022 when the game finally came out worldwide after several delays. What really appealed to me and others about the Ssum was its core mechanics. Unlike Mystic Messenger, which has about 11 days of content per character route, plus extra stories and epilogues and whatnot, the Ssum promotes itself as having 200 days worth of content, which, when you first hear it, simultaneously sounds really impressive and really insane. But hey, I'm a sucker for forming fictional relationships with anime boys, and I'm sure others are too, so yeah, I'm in. As a grad student and full-time worker, I definitely have 200 days to dedicate to a game. What the heck, why not? I didn't look too much into what the beta was about or the reception. I just wanted to try the game when it came out so I could form my own opinions on what I experienced. Though from what little I understand, it seems there's been some notable changes between the beta and the official release, namely the love interest's appearance and the art style. So, launch day. I'm in the US and the game launched on a Tuesday evening, like around 6 p.m. in my time zone. And so, with much excitement and anticipation, I started up the game. After some exposition, I had to create an account or sign up through a social media account like Facebook or Google. Naturally, I wanted to sign in with my Google account. I clicked the icon and nothing happened. I tried Facebook. Nothing happened. I tried creating an account with my email, and for some reason I couldn't sign the damn thing to create an account. So after trying and failing to find an answer online, remember the game had just come out at the time, so there wasn't a lot of posts about it, I gave up and just signed in as a guest. Now, if you're involved in the online community, you might have heard everyone's troubles with the launch of the game. For some people, including myself, we couldn't connect an account to the game. For others, they're stuck at 98% in the loading screen. Yikes. To their credit, Cheritz addressed these issues within a few hours with a "wait for an update please." As of day 4, it seems like my issue has been fixed, so now I have my account linked to the game. Finally, I could kick off the game. If I had to explain the initial premise, it's like deja vu with Mystic Messenger. MC downloads an app on their phone. MC checks out app. There's another person online who is your love interest named Theo. Neither of you know what's going on with this weird app. Oh well, at least he's cute. And so begins your relationship. Like Mystic Messenger, you text message and call your love interest, but unlike Mystic Messenger, you don't have to wake up at ungodly hours to do so. Instead, the Ssum lets you input your daily schedule right off the bat, which is split into wake time, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and bedtime. Once you set your schedule, you can change it, but you're gonna have to pay for that. As a side note, you're going to hear me say that a lot in this video, so sorry for anyone who has a daily schedule that changes on a whim, but the Ssum needs you to pay up before letting you change that schedule. On the one hand, it's nice that you can set your times to chit-chat with a fictional character. On the other hand, it kinda sucks you have to stick with it unless you want to pay up to change it. Generally, you have 5 chats a day with Theo, plus a couple calls if he hits you up. Or alternatively, you can pay to call him for additional conversations. The conversations, as of the 4th day I've played through, have been pleasant, cute, harmless. It's like talking to a nice, cute guy online with some moments that are amusing and endearing. Of course, Theo is not the most complex or fascinating character, at least not yet. Some people might find him boring in the way that you find Starbucks iced vanilla lattes boring, but I guess call me boring too, because I think nice guys can be cute. Theo is interesting enough to converse with, and because there's 200 days of content, I expect a lot of people, and myself, to warm up to him more over time. Probably much like how a relationship or friendship develops in the real world. Though, knowing this is a game from Cheritz, they might throw in some future angst and trauma for good measure. I can't wait. Speaking of Cheritz, I found an insightful post from April 1st on their Tumblr blog discussing the appeal of the game. The little webcomic in the post explains there will be new features in the game which could be either trivial or innovative. Trivial indeed. More on that later. Also, there's a pretty apt comparison of what kind of story we should expect from the Ssum when compared to Mystic Messenger. Mystic Messenger is described as a roller coaster, while the Ssum is more of a pleasant scooter ride. If I had to make an assumption, we're probably not going to get as crazy as Mystic Messenger. If 4 days of the story thus far is anything to go by, I can definitely see the Ssum being more slice of life and easygoing. I guess we'll see how everyone feels about it by the end. Returning back to the gameplay. As you play through the chat, you're going to very quickly see something really interesting. There are, in fact, premium choices. These are denoted by a different colored border from the other choices you can choose from. These premium choices cost in-game currency, which is called an Aurora battery. And let me tell you, those type of batteries are really hard to get. I'd recommend saving them since this is still early into the game. I found that premium choices don't make the biggest difference in chat. You might get an extra photo or some insight, but it really doesn't change the flow of conversation. Sometimes I don't even feel like the premium option is the choice I'd pick anyway. Sometimes they're kind of me, not gonna lie. And as of now, no one really knows if premium choices are going to make a big difference in the progression of the game. If it does affect gameplay significantly or locks out certain endings or benefits, this would be a poor move by Cheritz. Some people just don't have the money or time to pay for premium choices. I would personally prefer to pay money for the whole game at the start, rather than making recurring payments. Hopefully we'll be able to have a positive and fulfilling story even if players go the free-to-play route. This and all the previous mentions of paying for the game lead into one of the biggest issues people have had with the Ssum thus far. It's very, very clear that Cheritz is using this game to get big profits. Mystic Messenger was absolutely successful, a sensation that generated so much money for Cheritz. Whether it was for paying in-game currency or getting that sweet, sweet merch of Jumin Han on a body pillow, the game undoubtedly made big bucks for the company. But in the present day, the game is about to enter year 6 after its release. It's well past its peak at this point, and while many people still cherish the game, it's time to move on. The Ssum seems like a natural progression for the company. It's another otome game that capitalizes on that mobile phone experience, but someone at the company must have thought,
you know how we could milk more money from this game? Having monthly subscriptions that give you extra features that are actually pointless. Let's overcharge for every little thing.
Yeah, it was very blatant, and not a lot of people like obvious cash grabs. There are 2 types of subscriptions in the game, which are called the Rainbow Evolution Package and the Aurora Evolution Package. Rainbow is $20 a month, and Aurora is $25 a month. Lovely. You can either pay the subscription for a period of 1 month or a combined 3 months, which is a little bit cheaper for that time period. The benefits of these subscriptions is you avoid 5-second ads every time you get out of a page, you can select premium choices for free, you can call for free, and you get free in-game currency in the form of those Aurora batteries I was talking about. It basically makes the gameplay a little bit more tolerable. The only difference between the subscriptions is that the Aurora package lets you take a peek into Theo's private Twitter, where he writes thoughts on his conversations with the MC. Now, I decided to pay for 1 month of the Aurora package just to see how the experience would go. I think while it's pleasant to have the freedom to select locked choices and see some cute tweets from Theo's POV, I can't honestly say the extra $5 is worth it over the Rainbow package. Maybe if Theo posted exclusive photos, like nudes, JK, but seriously, give me some sexy pictures, not just wholesome stuff, haha. In addition to the tweets, it could give some more value to the package. If both subscriptions were even $10 cheaper, I think it'd be more worthwhile. It isn't just subscription packages, there are also extra charges for really minor things. I mean, look at this page. $10 for your guy to type faster? Really? A robot to help you with what I think is a pointless feature for $90? What? $1 to change your daily schedule? That should be free if you ask me. As a quick aside, the typing thing is actually kind of obnoxious. While it is realistic in text message conversations for the other person to be away from the keyboard for a few minutes, it's not really that fun in a video game. Starting with day 4, I don't know if it's just me, but Theo takes forever to respond back. You'll get little messages at the bottom of the chat like, Theo will respond back in 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And let me tell you, I don't think time passing has ever felt slower. I recorded one conversation from day 4 where Theo was gone for 3 minutes. It took so long, my phone actually turned off from inactivity. I have also seen wait times that go up to 15 minutes plus. I do have to wonder if his slow typing is intentional so Cheritz can get that sweet $10 from players to make him type at a reasonable speed. It feels very icky to me. It's the little things like this that have really irked me and other players. Mystic Messenger did not have this issue. Sure, you could pay to get in-game currency, but it wasn't impossible to acquire through free means. It could be time-consuming and repetitive, sure, but it was never unreasonable. I believe most players would be fine with games charging for things to some extent, but it has to be actually useful, appropriately priced, and players should be able to successfully enjoy and complete the game without any purchases. The pricing on everything is a big turnoff and to the game's detriment, unfortunately. And that's sadly not all, folks. I have bigger fish to fry than the prices. Believe it or not, most of the game does not actually have to do with talking to Theo. You know, the reason you actually wanted to play this game? No, there are a lot of other things to do. What do these features do? I don't know. No one knows. Here we have the home screen of the app. It looks simple enough, not unlike most anyone's actual phone screen. I think the apps here are straightforward and not that confusing. This is where you message Theo. This is where you call Theo. You can look at photos here. Here's his Twitter. It's totally fine. What's not fine is when you slide over. The screen turns into an 8-bit, 16-bit, whatever bit style, and here is where everyone, including myself, got lost. Not only is the screen cluttered with even more apps for players to explore, there are features in the game that no one understands what they're for. I'm gonna try my best to explain what I can understand, but I really don't get it. From what I can gather, some higher life forms, aliens I think, want to study humans. There are different planets associated with different emotions that the player can unlock over time. Each planet features a different online forum where a new question is asked every day and players can respond to it. Clearly, players take these questions very seriously. When you respond to a question, you'll get orbs called energy. I guess they're like orbs that have different emotions in them, and you collect them to unlock more planets, thereby unlocking more forums. I can't tell you what they really are, and if you're hoping that the in-game instructions will make it clear for you, lose that hope. It's an explanation that is super vague and filled with in-game terminology. I read it over and over again, and I still don't know what we're really doing this for. It might just be that the translation from Korean to English was not done smoothly. Funnily enough, you'll find the most helpful advice in the forum from other players. You'd think the game would do a better job at giving tips, but here we are. The forums are pointless to the relationship with Theo. Apparently you might occasionally find a post from Theo there, but does seeing it really change anything about your relationship in the end? My thought is there's probably a theme in the game about learning how to express emotions, or how emotions make people who they are. Let me tell you, most of what's written in these forums do not care about that lesson. As the internet does, it becomes a chaotic, unorganized mess that is more akin to a popularity contest or a challenge for who can say the most memey thing, or how we relate to each other about how confusing this game is. Most of the time, people aren't even answering the prompt. They type random letters just to get those orbs. It's evident this feature is not doing what Cheritz might have intended it for. Personally, I think it doesn't make my game experience any more enjoyable. Rather, the whole orbs situation seems like something to keep ourselves busy with while we're waiting for the next chat time with Theo. It's a mindless task of turning these orbs into emotions and seeing if luck is on my side to give me what I need. What makes it rough is no one can say if these orbs are going to have a big influence on the story and character development. You definitely don't see the immediate effects anyway, which is hard for a game that is in real time and has a pretty slow start. Actually, all of the side features can be described as one big collection game. As mentioned before, the orbs you collect are emotions, which helps you collect planets. Another thing are space alien animals that you collect like Pokemon, though I don't really know how to find them. I've only found a bunny on day 1. It doesn't seem to fulfill anything other than filling up a compendium. Even so, it's not very clear why anyone should spend time on this. Sure, I get that it gives you some of that in-game currency, like those batteries you can use for interactions involving Theo. But what do these features about planets and alien life have to do with Theo? I have a theory, which I talk about in the next section of this video, but I still think it doesn't add anything to your relationship with him or affect core gameplay. Maybe if Theo had involvement in one way or another with these features, like participating in the forum has a bigger impact on the chat or relationship, then perhaps it'd make more sense. There are some players who seem to understand how these features work, maybe even enjoy it too. I totally understand if someone finds these gameplay features fun and enjoyable. Please, feel free to continue having fun with it. Still, I struggle to understand how relevant all of these extras are to what should be the main point of the gameplay, your conversations and relationship with Theo. When there's no immediate or obvious impact of this additional gameplay on the main story, it's hard to care. It's really odd how these features seem to have more importance than Theo. In Mystic Messenger, it's very clear that the Messenger app is obviously the most important thing in the game. Here in the Ssum, it feels secondary, which is a shame because I think most everyone who is playing this game is here for the relationship, not for collecting orbs and aliens. I know we're still early in the game, so maybe these features aren't so pointless. Perhaps the lack of clear instructions and guidance make it too complicated for everyone. If something really dramatic happens that recontextualizes everything, then I'll gladly follow up this video with corrections and withdraw relevant complaints. The only criticism I would still defend if that were the case is that I think the amount of time for any sort of consequences of your actions to become relevant takes too long. For now, unfortunately, this is a big detriment to my enjoyment of the game. Remember how I said I might have a theory about why there's so much alien and space-themed content? Actually going into the game, I immediately wondered if Theo might be an AI program that adjusts to the player's preferences. The prologue introduces Theo as your one and only match who will definitely fall in love with you in no time, don't worry about that. It made me wonder if he could be an AI, cause that'd make the most sense. And knowing Cheritz, they do have a thing for meta stories like that. But with all this talk about planets and space creatures, as well as some insightful information on the official website, my position has moved away from this. A theory that has been popping up is that there might be multiple dimensions. This could explain why there are all these strange planets. The Ssum's official website even straight up shows characters that share Theo's name, but have different appearances and fashion styles. It could be Theo still, but it could possibly be different versions of him. I think this is an interesting direction for the story. As of day 4, there have been light references to the idea, but nothing too crazy. Like I said before, it could be that collecting the orbs and learning about all these emotions are going to be relevant to Theo's character growth, or maybe why there possibly will be different versions of him. It could be that collecting certain emotions can lead to certain outcomes with Theo's personality and appearance. Maybe then some people won't think of him as boringly vanilla. I'm still not certain about any of these theories, but what do you all think? Please share with me your bizarre and out-of-this-world theories, whether it's about the meaning of the gameplay, Theo himself, or where the heck this game is going. There's still a lot that can happen. We have 200 days of content after all. Looking back at what I've written, I realize I sound pretty critical of the game. It almost sounds like I hate it. I won't lie about being disappointed with some things, but from what I do enjoy, which is really just talking with Theo, I am looking forward to the coming days. 200 days of content is nothing to scoff at, even if it's about 5 chats a day, or ultimately around 1,000 conversations in total from messaging alone. 2,000 CGs also sound pretty promising. Some of the CGs I've gotten so far have been pretty cute, and I admit my heart flutters a little when Theo sends a pic. Whether it's a picture of himself or a really goofy drawing. I do like the premise of developing a relationship with someone over the course of several months in real time. It's an interesting direction to go after Mystic Messenger's 11-day schedule. It's neat to have a daily schedule where you talk with Theo at certain times. Makes it feel like this character has his own life he's living too. I will say that I do hope we get more story thrown our way very soon. Likewise, I would like to learn more about Theo. This is day 4 though, so we have well over 195 days to go. From the opening video and some of the things said by this mascot bird character, there is definitely something suspicious going on behind the scenes. This lab is definitely sus to me. Since this is Cheritz, I do expect twists and turns to come up in the future, just hopefully not too far away. I have criticisms of the game, I made that very clear. The launch was shaky and there are things I'm not very positive about, but the things I do like make me hopeful for the coming months of the game. I realize that the Ssum might be harshly criticized by players or feel so disappointing because it's being compared to Mystic Messenger. I do think the faults I list here don't have much to do with me comparing it to Mystic Messenger directly, but I acknowledge my initial hype was carried over by my love of that game. As the story picks up and players understand it more, I think the Ssum has a good chance of ending on a positive note, and maybe, can someday be called a worthwhile successor to Mystic Messenger in Cheritz's catalog. Tator-chan here, thanks for tuning into this video. I couldn't find room to mention this, but something I'd like to share was a little fun fact I came across during my research of the game. Like me, you might be wondering, what does the title even mean? Obviously, it's not an English word. In Korean, this literally translates to something, but is slang for the special something between two people who seem to have feelings for each other but haven't taken the plunge and started dating. Pretty cute and sums up the relationship with Theo in the game. Hope to see you guys around if I ever upload another video. Enjoy your gaming.